Hey, it's Balloonisher Brian Potvin here today at Tooncon, dressed as the Balloonisher. Now join me as we clear this con. Okay, join me as we clear this con. I'm sure I can get in at some point. All right, join me as taking two. Ready? That's Toby, take two, okay? All right, take three. Don't show the other ones at all. I found the entrance here. Okay, ready? It's Balloonisher Brian Potvin here is the Balloonisher attending Tooncon. Join me as we clear the con.
Excuse me, sir, I need a weapons check.
Every time.
Thank you so very much. Seems legit.
Thank you. All right, finally gonna make it in. I'm here with Lauren Stone, the creator of Tooncon?
I am the promoter
Promoter.
and co-partner, co-owner. It actually has an interesting story. Do you want me to tell you the story
Please.
of Tooncon? Okay, so Tooncon was something that had, it was a very small event that had happened at Frankensons, and it was run by two other gentlemen. My partner, Scott Zillner, was going to take over and kind of run it again with those guys. And they sort of like bowed out, so it was his. And he approached me and said, do you want to partner on this? Because I had lots of connections in the animation industry, and I could not say no to that.
Yeah.
So we partnered, and we had the date for this show by, I want to say January or February, and we've been chipping away at it ever since. And now we have Tooncon.
I can't wait. I mean, we've done some interviews here that I'm like, I got some stories out of people that I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
We're here for another convention, and same thing, everybody was just sort of like quiet, clammed up. But this one here, everybody's just like, yeah, sure, let's do an interview, let's talk. And you've made everybody feel very comfortable here is what I've noticed.
Oh, thank you.
And so that's why I said, I think everybody here enjoyed the convention. I see you got runners for them, is that correct?
Handlers?
Yeah.
Like people like next to them to help?
Yeah.
Yes.
You provided those?
Yes.
That's what, I mean, you're taking care of people the way they don't normally get taken care of.
I fed them lunch.
Fed them lunch. I saw, what other stuff can we look forward to, like in future cons? Or
We're looking to grow the show, and by that I mean adding extra activities. We'd love to add games. We'd love to just boost the vendor count, the attendee count. We want animation studios to recognize that this is a show that people want, and so that they can provide us with swag, or that they can have a presence. They might want to do a panel. We want this show to be one that if, like Nickelodeon, for example, has a new cartoon or show announcement, debut that announcement at Tooncon.
we did get Brandon McKinney did say, I've got the new Harley Quinn TV show coming up, and I went, exclusive right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And, speaking of exclusives, like, we were lucky enough to get that art print. We were lucky enough to get comic books and pins from Nickelodeon, because this is a show that will grow and that people will believe in.
Yeah.
And if it keeps on going, we'd love to see it become a 2-day. We would love to see it become a full event. Baby steps. This event is really nice. And I feel like our attendees and our guests are really happy. And that's what matters most, honestly.
So Lauren, as a young lady growing up,
Yeah.
what cartoons were you a fan of?
All right, so my cartoon fandom as a kid can be kind of broken up into two eras. We have like 80s and what I watched as like a baby, which was really like Rainbow Bright. I watched Gem. I was really into I loved Saturday morning cartoons. I loved Garfield and Friends. And then when I was about 6 is when Nickelodeon launched their Nicktoons. And that was a game changer. That was a life changer. That was Rugrats and Doug and Ren and Stimpy. And it was, oh my gosh, I watched a lot of Alvin and the Chipmunks, but that's going back further. And then, of course, came all like the gnarly 90s cartoons, Beavis and Butthead, anything that was kind of like gross out humor, I was all about it. And then as a teenager, you know, of course, Daria showed up. I watched a lot of cartoons. And then I watched like early Nick Jr., which was all stuff from Japan, like the Noozles and the Little Bits. Like, I just loved cartoons and animated movies. People ask me, they're like, what are your top 5 movies? And everybody has like their action movies and stuff like that. And for me, I'm like Roger Rabbit, Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer, the old Little Mermaid 70s anime one where she dies. Like, I just love cartoons. And so it was really cool to get to, you know, now I have this show and I really get to keep indulging in cartoon culture and the people who make it.
You know, the kids don't realize the struggle. Saturday morning cartoons only. That's what it was back then.
It was after school. No,
it wasn't after school until after, I think it was like, it was around Fox Kids. That's when it became after school.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree. I was watching Super Mario Brothers cartoon and Zelda cartoon after like at 3:00 on Channel 9.
What year was this?
This is like 89.
Okay, that would explain
88, 89.
I was like, what year was this? Okay, so it was on Channel 9?
Channel 9.
Oh, that would explain it.
And then Beetlejuice was in syndication, Channel 7.
Beetlejuice, now, oh God, see, but I always thought Beetlejuice was on Nick. It wasn't, it was originally on prime time? Like the regular TV show, channels?
It was, I don't remember if it was like, it was on ABC. I don't remember. It had a big history. There were
like one of those.
There were way more episodes of Beetlejuice than we realized. But, and then of course, and then I have to agree with you. Yes, we get to the mid 90s and then we're hitting like Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and
So now I'm starting to realize, did my mother lie to me this entire time and tell me there were no more cartoons on, just throw me outside?
Yeah,
Is that what happened here?
Yeah, because there was the preschool blocks. That's the thing, is like, yes, we had our Saturday morning cartoons. We had Saturday morning cartoons, but then there was preschool blocks, Nick Jr., there was after school blocks, there was the Disney block with Tailspin and Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Yes, I only remember Saturday morning and then Fox Kids, that's all I remember.
Fox Kids was like 96, dude. Yeah. There was cartoons hella on TV.
Was it 90? Okay, so King Koopa Troopa. And he would show the Mario Brothers cartoons.
Yeah, that was like 4:00. I was like after school, before dinner.
Christ almighty. My life.
My brain is trying to remember so hard. Like, yeah.
I know, it's like, what year was I? I'm trying to remember. What did I do that day? I came out. I was wearing a backpack.
I'm 34 years old.
What assignment was I working on at the time?
I'm 34. I'm struggling right now. So, but I just know I watched a lot of cartoons and played a lot of video games.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. So 86 for me was when I used to watch Thundercats was on right off the bat. And 6 in the morning, I'm screaming, Thunder! Thundercats! Oh! And my mom's going, shut up! Shut up! It's 6 in the morning! Nursing her hangover.
Oh, wah, wah, wah.
We'll cut that part, or we won't.
No, please don't.
No.
Keep that in.
I don't know.
Keep that in.
Maybe not. I haven't decided yet. So, now, you've got kids.
I do.
And do you ever try to force cartoons onto them, or do you let her make her own decisions?
Absolutely not. I do introduce. I have 2 kids. My boy is 6 and my daughter's 4, and I just let them do their thing. Like right now, they're both really into Captain Underpants because my son is reading the books at school. He's in first grade, so they're really into that. They were really into like Sophia the First. They actually watched the entire. That we were just talking about the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Okay.
My kids are really big Mario fans, so they're like, I want to watch a cartoon about Mario. I'm like, well, there's this from the 80s, give it a try. And they loved it, and they liked the Super Mario 3 cartoon and the Super Mario World cartoon. Yeah, the caveman, I don't get it. But, so no, I don't force anything on my kids. Like, some people are like, oh, I watched He-Man, so therefore my kids have to, like, oh my God. I love He-Man, don't get me wrong, but I would never expect my children to want to watch any old cartoon that I watched. They have their own taste. So my daughter's really into like DC Girls, and that's a current cartoon. Like I said, there's Captain Underpants, Sophia the First, random movies. They love, of course, Disney movies that are current, Zootopia, Moana, like that sort of thing. So I am very open with whatever they want to watch, but no, I don't push any of my weird stuff.
Well, Lauren, we're looking forward to more cons? I mean, is this the only one you're going to take care of, or are you going to do another one yourself?
No, actually, I have a small portfolio. Again, my business partner, Scott Zillner, he runs Power Morphicon. He's a partner in Pasadena Comic-Con. He owns Robo Toy Fest and Japan World Heroes. As for myself, I have this is our shared show, Tooncon. I have Simi Valley Toy and Comic Fest. I have Ventura Toy and Comic Expo, which is May 3rd, 2020. And then I also own Megabit Game Expo, which is also in Simi Valley, and that's September 13th, 2020. So I have other shows on the horizon.
Is it a struggle when you're planning a show? You're like, what other shows coming about?
What are the shows, what?
Like say if you have, what is it, PowerCon you said?
Power Morphicon?
Power Morphicon. Okay, let's just say that across town there's VoltronCon, and they decided to have it at the same exact time. Like, is there a circuit, or is there like what do you look up? How do you plan a show?
Well, you want to make sure that there's no competing event on your date, but they might pop up after you've
announced
your date.
Wait until Lauren announces the name, and then yes, that's the day we're going to do it, Lauren.
All you can do if it's a first-time show, you kind of have to appeal to the locals and be like, this one's for you, and you don't have to travel far. Like in Simi Valley, it's for the locals, so they don't have to travel far. For something else, it's like, well, for an established show, for like Power Morphicon, it's like, well, of course the people are going to come to Power Morphicon because it's the best Power Rangers fan event in the world. You're not going to get this anywhere else. So I don't care if there's a Comic-Con a couple towns over, because you want to come here.
Here's your Beaumont Con. Forget it. You're
Keep
over
it.
there.
Yeah.
Keep it with Power Morphicon.
Yeah.
Got it. I am spoiled here that I live near the Pasadena Convention Center, and I get to attend so many conventions that take place here. So I look forward to the Pasadena Comic Con. I've been meaning to come out for a while, but like Frankensons.
Yeah.
We're so spoiled with Frankensons and putting in their types of events.
Yeah.
I'm just glad everybody's sort of branching out and going.
Yeah. No, it's fun, and Pasadena Comic Con's a good show.
I can't wait. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh no, thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for coming to the show.
Stay tuned. So I noticed here at Tooncon, not a lot of violent cartoons are being featured here. I mean, I know I'm dressed as a violent character, but I mean, I don't.
Sorry, did you say violence?
We're joined by the Joker. Check this out. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Yourself?
So what attracted you to Tooncon?
Tooncon. I mean, I'm based off one of the greatest villains in the comic animation industry.
Correct.
I love it.
But yet you went with the Joaquin Phoenix version of Joker.
Not Toon, but still one of the major representations, and his base character is a comic, so pretty much
This is true.
an overall Toon.
Now, would you say you went more with the original Joker, Killing Joke style origin Joker? What was the Joaquin Phoenix character, do you think, based off of?
The Joaquin Phoenix Joker was more based off not original story plot line,
Okay.
but more of a completely different arc, completely different, okay?
Okay.
The only thing that no spoilers here at all, sorry, is some of the specific characters involved in the movie of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Yeah.
Todd Phillips, amazing director, but still an overall completely different storyline. I think if they would have gone with the Killing Joke style, maybe it would have been a little bit more corrupt, sinister, and overall evil.
I mean, it looked sort of like it was just one bad day to push somebody over.
But that's true. That's how, again, that's the main storyline. It only takes one bad day.
Only it wasn't one bad day. This poor guy had a tortured life.
Completely.
Tortured life. Now, did it hit home for you? Did you feel like, I'm tortured? Not so much your mother kept you in a cage or was abused by the boyfriend or anything like that, but we all feel tortured in some way, don't we?
Completely. And for me, it was a personalized movie because I've been a struggling entertainer since I was very little.
Yeah.
Okay? The fact that, like I said, and I posted this years ago, I was like, one day I'm going to make the whole world laugh. The second they changed that, or like they reiterated and said it in the movie, I'm like, I need to see it. Just the struggle of an entertainer trying to make the world laugh.
Yeah.
I have to say it's my struggle myself. And that's why I have to go with the most personalized character ever.
You look fantastic, I'll tell you that much.
Likewise,
Now,
Mr.
tell me,
Punisher.
So, what other characters influenced you growing up?
Main characters that influenced me, Batty from Fern Gully.
Okay.
Robin Williams. Robin Williams was one of my comedic icons.
Yeah.
As a clown, but still laughter is the biggest key. Other main cartoon characters, Rocco Modern Life, something modern, but he's trying to live his life.
Yeah.
It's true to the story title. Okay, Timmy Turner Okay.
Oh yeah, we can all identify with Timmy Turner.
He struggles with it. He's had villains, he had nemesis, and he has to overcome
Bullies
each
and just-
trouble.
oh, yeah.
Okay, I love Timmy Turner.
If we only had a Fairly Odd Parents, right? Or
Okay,
Godparents.
it would make life easier.
So much easier.
Okay.
What other stuff you got going on?
Other stuff, as in,
Well, just like you're here, you're at Tooncon. What are you looking forward to seeing?
speaking of Timmy Turner, I was shocked. I was just walking by, and this guy came up to me like, dude, can I take a picture with you? And it took me like a hot second, like, it's Butch Hartman.
That's cool.
And like, Butch Hartman asked me for a picture. I was going to ask him for one.
I know, right?
Okay, and then that just blew my mind. I got to meet some of the voice actors. Eric is here as well. He's one of the main voices for the new Looney Tunes show, Daffy Duck, okay? And one of the voices of Marvin Martian. Another great comedy duo, which I loved seeing his cartoons.
You know, we were talking about violence earlier, and how violence has sort of been watered down now.
Completely.
I mean, take like SpongeBob. SpongeBob's not really a violent cartoon.
No.
There's a lot of undertones, but not so much violence. But I mean, Looney Tunes, man, Tom and Jerry, just
The best.
The best. I mean,
But then it's frowned upon now. I'm like,
Yeah.
that was the best violence in a kid's show.
yeah. I struggle with
happens.
this with my own daughter. My daughter, I'll be watching a cartoon, and she'll say, "Daddy, is that real?" And I'm like, now I remember when kids. When kids were hurting each other because of something they saw on Tom and Jerry or something they saw in a TV show, I would think to myself, like, what kind of kid didn't know that this is a cartoon? What kind of kid didn't
was
know
real.
that it wasn't real? And then now my daughter's asking me, is this real? And I'm like, oh, some kids need to be told it's not real.
Apparently.
Here I am walking around thinking like they need better upbringing. And I'm like,
Coming from a guy holding a balloon gun.
this is true. They need better upbringing. I agree 100%. Oops. But no, I have to explain to her all the time. Watching movies, watching cartoons, I have to tell her, no, this is movie magic. I call it movie magic.
Cartoon magic. Yeah.
Did you see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Loved it.
So there was a scene in there where my daughter was like, I want to go, and it was when the Prowler appeared. The Prowler they sold that movie. What I liked about that movie was that they sold it as a comic book movie, but yet it was geared for the adults who grew up with the comic book.
No, and then there was a lot of adult references that we, at our age, know where the kids didn't, and that's perfectly fine, and I love that.
Yeah.
Okay? Plus, the multiple styles of art and animation and illustration just blew my mind that all that collaborated on one major movie, and it was a smash. I loved it.
It was fantastic.
Okay.
So, well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
I'm happy.
Enjoy the rest of your con.
Okay. Likewise, you, as carefully say, choose your victims wisely. As for me, I have no preference.
Look who I found. It's Ron Oster of Tim and Eric. Great job.
Ta-da! In the house.
What brings you today?
I'll tell you what brings me today, just the fascination of it all. I mean, we are into this. I have my PR rep present, London, and she's here someplace.
One of the best PR reps around.
Hey, she's one of the best there is for anybody that's into a market for getting some good PR. Give her a call. And, of course, I couldn't help but find our baby bro here, and I had to get in on some of his action. He was nice enough to invite me to do a little quick, what is this, a YouTube video shoot?
YouTube video.
Yeah, we're having a blast here, and she drags me to all these cons. Of course, I got to be there anyway, I got to sign an autograph, take a picture and
I
whatnot.
was glad we were able to pry you away from the fans.
Well, you know what? You know what? Thank goodness you did, man. Because after a while, it starts getting warm, man.
You're like
But
okay,
I
all right.
love them. I love them. Like I always tell them, I love you all because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be wherever the hell I might be. I'm still not rich, but I'm working on it. That's what you're here to help me out on. This. If you put this out there, maybe I'll donate to the cause.
What do you got coming up?
We got a brand new show. I've just gotten back with Tim and Eric, T&E, for the first time in about 11 years? Well, I mean, I've done different things off and on, but I'm saying I've actually gotten back with them for the first time to do some real work. They hired me. I got a supporting role in a new show they just came out with. They wrote it, produced it. Actually, they co-wrote it, huh? They got writers nowadays. Them guys are big league.
They're big
They're
now.
big league, yeah, man. They got their own writers now, yeah, huh? And they wrote this brand new show that's going to be coming out. We did it here. We shot it about 2 months ago, September. It's a brand new show called Beef House.
Okay.
And I guarantee you it's going to knock your socks off.
So it's a little bit different than what Tim and Eric does. their sketches.
I have dubbed it as their best work.
Their best
I can
work.
honestly say, and I told them personally, I said, guys, I think you really went over the top. You outdid yourselves on this one because it's a great show. And it's, what do you call that? A series, a sitcom. It's a sitcom.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask.
I
Is it a
called it,
sitcom?
yes, and I coined it a combination of 2.5 Men
Okay.
and Golden Girls. It's a combination.
Are you Rue McClanahan? Is that your character?
Actually, I wish.
Are you the sexy?
I wish.
The sexy.
Now, don't. Hey. I wish. But I tell you what, they called me in because I think they must have had a certain something in mind for a particular guy. It's a bunch of white guys. Have you ever seen Sopranos?
Yes.
Remember the little gal, Meadow? She was the little spoiled brat daughter of Tony Soprano.
No, not for quite some
Well,
time.
I'm sure there are a lot of Jamie Lynn Sigler. She's going to be the wife of Eric.
Okay.
And then we've got, let's see, there's Tim. And they asked me to be I got a supporting role in it, so you're going to love it. I gave it my best.
I can't wait.
And I swear to you, we're looking to hopefully make it go over on the first season. If we can get a first season, we're sure to follow with a second because it's going to be hilarious. And I can't wait for you to see. Matter of fact, I can't wait to see it myself. But
That's the worst.
Hurry up! Yeah, really. Yeah, they told me somewhere along December, and then they kicked it up to spring. Now I'm hearing that they're kicking it up to summer. According to my PR, she keeps up on all that. I hope we don't have to wait till the summer, but however long, I promise you it's going to be something that you'll definitely be tuned in for. It's called Beef House. And it's kind of like a frat house situation with me, Tim, Eric, Tennessee Luke Fortenberry, and Ben-Hur. And, of course, Jamie Lynn. She's going to be the wife of Eric. And it's like a bunch of guys who are just, camaraderie. It's really fascinating. And I know you're going to love it because I definitely gave it my best on this. I told them, guys, I think this is your best work. So
I love Tim and Eric. I loved you on Tim and Eric.
Oh, my gosh. Keep talking. Don't interrupt him here. Let him talk.
I still walk to this day. My wife and I will go for a hike, right? And our legs will be just tired and withered. And we start going, spaghetti. Spaghetti.
Oh, yes, we got a brand. I just was hired here by a company. It's a low-budget company. They don't have a lot of money, but they just created a brand new thing that I think the world is going to get a kick out of. It's a novelty right now, but it's called, what's it called? A butt pillow.
Butt pillow.
Yeah, it's an actual pillow that you lay your head on, right, nice and soft. They're still trying to work the kinks out of it because according to London, it's not really going over big for the bigger people. But it would make a great headrest if you're on an airplane or something, those things. And for the smaller people like us, it'd be a great pillow. But it's a pillow of a torso that's from the waist down to knee.
Okay.
And it's a brand new soft. It's not one of those memory foam, but it is nice and soft. And I mean, when I say,
is it actually shaped like a butt?
Man,
And you just put your
head right down in it, huh? And I mean, hey, that's the next best, closest thing to heaven. I mean, I haven't gotten that close to heaven since. I don't know. But hey, one of the guys, who is the guy, Steven? Steve what?
Steve Glickman.
Steve Glickman, yeah. I understand he played I met him, he's one of our fans like yourself, one of the fans of Pierre. And he worked on a show called
Nickelodeon Big Time Rush.
Big Time Rush, Nickelodeon back in the day, and so I got to meet him. Yeah, right. And he's the one that's doing the shoot and the promo for this company that's making this pillow.
Yeah.
So hopefully he called me in, and then they hired us to do a quick little skit, and they got other little skits to sort of promote this pillow.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking this is going to really go over well because, like I said, there it is. There it is.
That's the butt pillow right there.
That's the butt pillow.
Oh man, hey, you put your head in there and you sleep. You sleep like a. You put your.
Couldn't wake me.
Put your head.
Wake me.
He's dead. He's dead. He died, huh? I mean, hey, that's the next thing. You couldn't be sleeping in anything soft if you had a newborn baby in your hands. You know what I'm saying, huh? Like sleeping like a newborn baby. So yeah, we're promoting that. So put the word out there. See if we can get more sales on it because
Hashtag butt pillow.
there you go.
The buttress pillow.
Buttress pillow. Yeah. And it's a new company and they're designing and they're manufacturing this thing. If it goes big, you know what I mean. Of course, I'll get a little cut of the action. You get a little cut of the action, and we'll all get a little cut of the action. As I sleep. As I sleep like a newborn baby, huh?
I would have loved to have been in
Yeah.
the pitch meeting.
Hey,
Guys,
hey,
I got this idea. All right, wait. Before you go, just pull out the wallets. And get out the checkbooks.
Oh,
It's
but of
called
course.
the buttress pillow.
or commonly known as a butt pillow.
Butt pillow.
Let's see you bury your head in that.
This one's got stains on it.
Hey, listen. yeah. As a matter of fact,
I was eating peanut butter jelly. That's all.
is that what that was?
I was resting my arms. I don't know what you guys are thinking about. Resting my arms on the butt pillow.
Yeah. Well, look up. Are they on Facebook yet? They're on.
Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah. Look them up.
Sure, we'll find it.
Look them up on Facebook. Yeah, like I said, and then give them a little promo, give them a little shout out there. That'll help their sales because, like I said, they're a new company. Just came up with the idea, and they got to work kinks out. Like I said, they got to make them bigger for the bigger folk. You know what I mean? Because, for me, it's perfect. But, they're working kinks out, and like I said, they're a small company, and they're on the rise. It's going to be a novelty. That's what I call it, a novelty. So.
Now, if you don't mind, I want to get back to your career real quick. So, how did you end up on the Tim and Eric show?
People ask me that from time to time. I love telling the story. It's not really a long story, but I try to sort of condense it by saying, I submit my resume, or in the business, it's like getting a job. You know what I mean? They got want ads. We need this, we need that. I always say, one thing about this industry, they don't discriminate, which is a good thing. I mean, but they're serious about the craft, and the way it works is, if they say we need a midget, I think it's safe to assume I'd be wasting their time. You know what I mean? But now if they need a studly, handsome, I'm your man. Well, they called me in. I submitted my portfolio. They called me in because Tim and Eric look for quirky things.
Yes.
Before they called me in for the audition, I didn't even know. I had not a clue who the hell they were. Okay.
Most people did.
Okay, right. But they're big leaguing now, though.
Big league now, but back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah. So I go in to do, and they call me up, and I'm looking for a job. They're looking for a worker.
Yeah.
I go in. They call me in. I go in and do the audition. They put the script in my hand. I look at the script, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know?
You want me to stand with this other man and just sing?
You want me to do what?
Am I singing a good song?
Well, evidently, see, like I said, they look for quirky.
Yeah.
And I guess they must have seen some quirk in there somewhere. So I'm thinking,
Did
okay.
you walk in wearing the Balloonisher suit?
No.
Okay.
They created that character. They created Pierre. And as a matter of fact, when they told me we want you to do that role, the first thing I had to do, any actor has to become the part.
Yeah.
That means you got to step out of body and find yourself and then find out who it is that they want. They sort of gave me an idea of what they wanted, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to put Ron into it. I'm Ron from who I am, because I'm from the old school. I'm OG and player and the whole 9 yards. So I'm just going to put be that character, And it turned out to be Pierre. And little did I know the world would fall in love with this guy named Pierre. So I figured, okay, let's take it all the way. You know what I mean? So Pierre was born. And in this new show, Pierre's not going to be there. You'll know me as, that's Pierre, but in this show, I'm Ron. Like in the show, everybody's their real name. There's Tim, and there's Eric, and who they call Jamie Lee and Megger. But then there's Ben-Hur, and then there's Tennessee Luke, and then there's Ron. Okay, so I'm Ron in this new show, but I'll always be the ever-loving Pierre, the beloved Pierre, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if we'll be doing Pierre again. But people still seem to know Pierre, and they take to him. They seem to love Pierre. So I'll always be Ron Pierre.
This is true.
Hey, but listen, we got to do some more rounds, and it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Talking to me.
Hey, it's my pleasure, man. Much love to you.
Stay
Much
tuned.
love to the world.
I'm here with David Fain, creator of Action League Now. Many of us as kids play with action figures and think one day this is going to make a living, but you actually pulled it off. How did you do this?
Well, for that to correct you, I'm not the creator of Action League. I was a writer, director, and animator on the show, but the show existed before I came on board of it. It's something that I think they looked at action figures and said, let's make a show that's like a kid playing with his action figures, only you don't see the kid ever.
I remember watching it going, this is great. Why am I not doing this? So, where's that guy at?
Which guy?
So, David, what are we doing here? We're displaying the figures. We're showing off what.
I'm basically, this is my first con as a guest.
Okay.
I'm friendly with one of the people who own it. They asked me if I would come and do a little presentation. I work in animation myself, not in stop motion anymore. I've been working as an animatic editor for the last 10 years on a variety of things, Transformers. I just finished up the new Rocketeer reboot for Disney Junior.
Okay.
Just started airing. Please watch it, everybody. I want to get a second season. And I just came out to kind of meet the fans and see who would show up, actually, because this is a 20-year-old property, and it never got out on DVD. It wasn't on YouTube until quite recently. I mean, I checked before the show. The episodes are there now, so hopefully a new generation will discover it. But yeah, I just came out to kind of bring the dolls out and see who would show up and chat with them.
So, are the dolls like in a library at home? Like, I got to check these out?
Well, hopefully the statute of limitations has ended, because these are all sort of things we absconded with from the set at the end of the run, and some of them are my personal dolls, and some of them are ones that I borrowed from another former crew member who happened to be out here doing some work. So in order to stay in my guest house, he had to loan me his dolls.
Now, Transformers, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So, you did animation, you never actually met some of the actors, is that correct?
Well, it depends. When I work as a director, sometimes you'll go into the record sessions and you'll actually direct them. If you're not a director or a writer, chances are you're not going to have a direct contact with them. As far as Transformers goes, it was really nice because they would do this thing where they would invite those of us on the crew to periodically come and attend a recording. So I actually did get to meet Peter Cullen. I've met Optimus. I've met Megatron.
Frank Welker.
Yeah. And I worked on Transformers Prime and Transformers RID as an animatic editor, which basically, if you don't know, that's the person who takes the storyboard panels and marries them to the performances by the actors, giving you sort of an almost animated film that can be then sent to executives and overseas studios, and they use that as the blueprint to actually make the episode.
See, a lot of people don't realize what work goes into animating. People are picturing, especially with Prime, for instance, it was very computer generated, and Prime I felt was one of the most underrated Transformers cartoons. I felt they should have gotten more seasons than 3. But tell us, what were some of the highlights, lowlights?
Well, first of all, I have to say that the guy who ran the production, Jeff Klein, was the best guy to work for, and I would give him, a lot of credit for why that show was as good as it was.
Yeah.
I have to say, after Action League, Prime is my favorite show to ever work on because it had real drama. It had it was a little darker than most Transformers, and it had stakes. Characters could die. So to me, that's sort of like, well, there's drama. If somebody can die and that they're not necessarily going to bring them back like they are with most comic book things, I think that adds another level of it. And they took it really seriously. And everybody who worked on that show really tried to do their best work. And, people I met on that crew, I'm still friendly with, and people like Brandon McKinney, I don't know if you've interviewed him, he's a board artist over there, but he's boarded on most of the Transformers shows. They just wanted it to be really good.
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. It was one of my favorite episodes was the one where Bulkhead was trying to go through the portal and he got shot in the back. It was sort of a 3-parter. You had to watch each episode to get sort of all that was going on.
It was like a Rashomon kind of deal where you got everybody's point of view.
I kept showing, I go, if you're not watching Prime, this episode right here should hook you. I go, this is one of the best things. The writing, the art, just everything and how it all came together. I mean, now, were you in the writers' meeting for that, or did you? How did that come about?
Well, those, again, that I was in a sort of a different setup. The writers are really in sort of the pre-production mode, so they do their heavy lifting up front, and then once I'm involved in it, chances are they're on to 6 episodes past where I am.
I picture the room being like, okay, listen to me, artists. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have a very serious episode. Don't screw this up. That's what I'm picturing. But no, every time I talk to somebody, everybody's like, nope, it's not like that. Everybody's really cool. Everybody's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about it was, I'm really not one for those sort of open floor plan kind of things, but what was nice is I could walk from my cubicle over to a director or to a board guy. If I had a question or something, it was like, again, would just be like, what did you mean here? Or am I supposed to cut back to this other thing again? Or, so the communication was really tight.
Yeah. Is it like working in a vacuum, though, when you have to sort of sit there and buckle down and get the project done?
I wouldn't say it's a vacuum, but it is kind of a staged process. So, for example, on Prime, what they would do is the script would get written. The script goes to the board guys and the directors. They do a breakdown of it. They have their own internal meetings where they look at things and they have notes, something called a board flip. Okay, so once they've finished all the segments of the board, they go through and flip through it and find any problems. Oh, I don't like this staging, change that. Oh, that prop is wrong, do this. That all happens before it gets to me. Then once it gets to me, my job is, okay, now I start adding sound effects. You know what? This thing is sitting here, it's kind of dead. We need some jazzy music to make it happen. Or, we need a really cool engine sound here. And so my job at that point is to kind of sell it to the next group of people who come and look at it. And again, it's sort of twofold. One is to sell it to the executive class who may not be so familiar with what a thing looks like before it's animated. Try and get them to fill in the gaps in their mind of the story and all that. And the other is for the overseas studio, because literally this is them opening up a package it's got character designs, it's got props, it's got backgrounds, and it has this animatic thing that's telling them the timing is like this. Or this is our idea of what the timing should be like. This is your starting point. Yeah. And then it becomes a back and forth between that studio and the main studio in terms of, this crazy camera move you guys drew is going to cost us 20 hours in rendering, so we'd rather do a less crazy move, okay? And then they go in and modify things or do whatever they have. Or somebody from legal calls up and says, that sign you've got in that scene looks kind of like a Shell sign, and we don't want to get sued by Shell, so you got to change that, So once you get to a certain point, you're still having cross-pollination, but it's a little on the lesser side. And the thing is moving down the field like a football, trying to get it across the end line.
So the other thing I want to ask is, what comes first, the art in the animation or the figure?
Are you talking about in terms of Transformers?
Yeah, in Transformers. Just because I'm interested. You have them right over there.
Okay. I was talking to somebody else about this phrase we have in the industry. It's called, is it toyetic enough? Which, the first time I heard it was like, that's a word? And what it refers to is there a toy in this property? Okay? Now, I don't know if you know the little secret about animation, but all the money is in the toys. All the money is in the merchandising.
We're familiar.
There's no money in the actual property itself.
Yeah.
So, the simple answer is yes. The toy comes first.
Comes first.
But it depends on the studio. Like, I worked for Hasbro. They're a toy company first.
Yes.
And Transformers is a legacy property of theirs. So all of the characters, but before Prime ever started, I'm sure they sat down and went like, these are the Transformers we want to use. These are the guys, we maybe want to use as guest stars. And then these are the new toys that are coming in that will be integrated to the series.
So.
Now, I have to say, hopefully this won't come back to bite me on the behind, but the series that I did after Prime, Transformers RID, suffered a little bit because of this. Because they not only had the Decepticons, they had the Autobots, they had this new thing called the Minicon.
The Minicons, yeah.
And so now you've got another 12 additional characters per episode whose characterization comes down to, he's the red one, because there's just not enough time in an episode.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for the writers at that point because that was something that came down from the studio on high that said, these characters must be in it, there must be this many. I'll give you another example. I got a note one time, we had an episode that was long, and I wanted to cut a shot of a character in vehicle mode driving into this citadel. And I said, well, look, he shows up at the citadel later, we know he's there, why do we have to show him driving? And they said, this is the only moment in the episode he's in vehicle mode, and the toy must be shown in vehicle mode.
Well, I can tell you from watching RID, there were a few scenes, like the original Transformers, there were just tons of mistakes left. 1 minute Starscream is gray and purple, and then all of them are gray and purple,
right.
And it's Starscream's voice, and you're like, no, wait, it's supposed to be Thundercracker, and there were tons of mistakes. And there was one that I caught in RID that really bugged me. So Ultra Magnus comes down, he premieres. And so now we've got a new toy, right?
Yeah.
And it was a great toy, by the way. If you don't have one, I do. But if you don't have one, you're lost. It was a great toy. And he sort of introduces himself as this loner. He just wants to sort of, be on Earth. And I don't remember, it wasn't Bumblebee, it was a different character. It was a yellow guy. Hotshot was his name.
Okay.
Hotshot was like, hey, we got to give Ultra Magnus a chance. He's a great character. Leave him alone. Blah blah blah. So the following episode, Ultra Magnus is driving through town in vehicle mode, and he's carrying other cars. And then Hotshot goes, "What are you doing here, Ultra Magnus? Get out of here! We don't want your kind around here." And I'm like, didn't they just have him saying like we should give Ultra Magnus?
He was on his side a minute ago.
Yeah, I was like, what happened between that episode and this?
Well, it might be that there was a scene that got cut that would explain that. But usually they're pretty good, about covering their tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an episode of Action League where Bill the Lab Guy's daughter gets kidnapped by this giant baby, and he grabs her, and we did a shot, and we realized after the fact 2 days later that Corky didn't have any shoes on. So from that moment on, we were like, how did her shoes come off? So we literally did a shot where he grabs her and you show the ground and her shoes fall off. And the only reason we did that was to cover our asses in terms of continuity.
I do love when they do that in TV shows. Like It's Sunny in Philadelphia. You ever watch that? Mm-hmm. There was one where this character by the name of Mac, he was overweight. And they never once explained why he was overweight this whole season. And at the very end, they explained why he was overweight. And you're like, those bastards. So
it's always an in-joke almost, yeah.
Well, David, thank you so much for talking to us.
Sure.
I'm here to say a big thank you to Brandon McKinney for drawing, storyboarding, Transformers, Prime, Robots in Disguise. Give us some of the other rundowns. What else have you worked on here, Brandon?
Oh, geez. Well, my first animation job was on Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Then Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited.
The thank yous are just going to continue. I'm just
Right?
going to keep saying thank you.
Lots of Warner Brothers properties. The biggest one now, the first 2 seasons of the new Harley Quinn animated show, which premieres at the end of this month, November 2019.
Tuning in. What channel?
That's going to be on the DC Universe app.
Oh, darn those DC. Making us get that app.
This show alone is going to be worth getting the app, but they have other great shows, Doom Patrol, Titans. You get all the, DC comic book run, so it's worth its weight in gold.
I keep looking for drama in everything that I do. I don't know, it's probably just me. I keep picturing, whenever I meet a storyboard artist or a comic book artist, I picture like a J. Jonah Jameson type character looming over you going, get it done, get it done. Now, is that really what happens, or is it just you beating yourself up?
I'm my own J. Jonah, because in order to continue working as a story artist, you can't be missing your deadlines very much, or, you're not going to get the next job.
This is true.
So, over the years, I've had to learn to discipline myself to get a certain number of panels drawn each day, break up the big project into manageable chunks, and find inspiration in everything you do. I just missed Transformers growing up. I sort of aged out before they were big. I'm much older than I might appear, but the new version, the Prime and the Robots in Disguise, brilliantly written.
Yeah.
They carry on the mythos of, Cybertron and Optimus Prime versus Megatron, and it was great.
What I liked about those was it was like the guys that took Prime over, it was like they went, there was a great show in the 80s.
Yep.
There were a lot of mistakes. There was more there. Let's try to do a better job.
Yeah.
Now, do you audition, or does somebody just say Brandon's the guy? I mean, how do you get your jobs?
Well, it's a lot through referrals. You do good work on another show, and animation teams are constantly evolving and changing, and one show ends, the people move on to other shows. They need to staff up or crew up, and when they're looking for board artists, if I'm on their list and I've done good work on time, they'll give me a call. And they know I'm more geared toward the action-adventure shows that have some good acting moments too, the drama, the dialogue. And I just love telling stories with pictures and cinematically, and storyboards allow me to do that. So I feel like I have the perfect job.
That is cool. I mean, one of the things I love is just seeing how you come up with, like, now, before it hits animation, so let's just talk about this right here.
Yeah.
Okay, before it hits animation, you just send this off, and then this has to inspire the person that's animating it? or?
Okay. Well, it all starts with the written word, the script.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
And
where are you in the food chain?
I'm so other people design the characters exactly how they look, what the backgrounds look like, and my job is to put it all together and tell the story with a sequence of shots, close-ups, wide shots, camera moves, and then I have to draw each character multiple times in each scene, kind of keyframes of animation in a way, showing if they're walking from point A to point B or if they're gesturing while they speak. I have to draw all those key moments. And that's kind of my call. There's so much content you have to make in television animation that there is a director, and under them are a few storyboard artists, but each board artist gets a first pass at directing, at telling the story the way they see it. Then the director changes and makes notes and, makes it all work cohesively. But, we get that first pass, and I love that part of it.
Have you ever gotten that note like, it's not good enough, do it again?
Yeah, especially early on. The more I've done it, the fewer and fewer notes I get because I kind of get how to do it.
Yeah.
But every director has their own vision, and you want to, accommodate that. So, I always get notes. That's part of the job.
Yeah, that's true.
And the notes that I'm getting now often make it better, because I can think up the basic shots, but if, the director has a better idea, that's awesome. If it makes the whole show better or more interesting. So I love that process too.
So just to give you an idea, I do balloons for a living. That's what I do. I make balloon art. And because it's my job, I in no way want to make it at home in my spare time.
Right.
So the average kid goes home and draws. What do you do for fun now?
I draw.
You still draw?
Yeah.
That's
because
right
I don't want to lose the reason why I got into it in the first place. So I will either go to life drawing classes or sessions and draw from life, or I will work on my own ideas because I have a ton of them. I can't make money on them yet.
Yeah.
But I can advance them a little further towards getting
Got
there.
a character for you called the Balloonisher.
Right?
Right here. I've been actually trying to figure that out. So I'm like, what would the Balloonisher do? I picture myself going to like a dull birthday party.
Yeah.
And then just make everybody happy. Right?
Turn them away from their life of crime.
Exactly. Don't do that. Here, make balloons.
Yeah.
You take life drawing classes.
Yes.
And is that the only type of life art you take? Do you take other types of art classes?
They're less classes where you're getting assignments and instruction. They're more, everybody comes together in a studio. There's a model who will get into a variety of poses, or more than one model. I consider it more like going to the gym.
Okay.
So if you're an athlete, if you play football,
Yeah.
you work out and you train and you practice during the season, but then when you're not playing, you don't just quit, and then start up again when the season, you need regular maintenance. And so that's what I look at the life drawing as, just to keep, so I don't get locked into one style or one type of job.
Yeah.
The life drawing lets me expand and do art for me more than just doing the assignment I'm given at work, which I will enjoy. I love, everything I've worked on so far, and the fact I can make a living doing that is pretty great, but I still want to draw for me and get better,
Now, do you get to the point where people say, oh, well, Brandon, I don't know, family members, Brandon's an artist. Brandon, come over and do the kid's birthday party, do some caricatures. Do you ever get that?
I've done caricatures for my own kids' birthday parties, and that's great. It's something I can contribute.
Do the parents realize like exactly what it is that like who you are?
I think word gets around,
Okay.
And they always ask if I've worked on SpongeBob, which I have not yet.
That's the worst.
Batman or Scooby-Doo, everybody knows those, so it's great.
That's the word. Like I'll walk in, and I'm like I said, I'm a celebrity balloon artist. I'm doing that in quotations because I'm like, nobody's really a celebrity balloon artist. But I walk in and I'll make balloons for the kids in my daughter's class.
Yes.
And the parents are like, oh, that's so cute, thank you. And I'm like, do you have any idea who I am? You know who I am.
Yeah.
I don't actually say that. It's just me internally doing that.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm just like, do you have any idea how much people pay me to make these creations? And I'm just handing them to your child.
Right.
Because she knows my daughter.
Wow.
I would love to, how old are your kids?
Well, I have 4, 9, 10, 16, and 17.
Darn it, I was hoping we'd get invited to a birthday party. My daughter's 4. I was going to sit there. Brian, what are you doing? I'm waiting for Brandon to start drawing caricatures.
Right.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for talking to me today.
You bet.
It has been a blast. Once again, thank you for all the stuff you put out there. I can't wait for this Harley Quinn series to appear on DC
Universe.
DC Universe.
Yeah.
We are here with James Mathis III, voice of Black Panther. Now, James, how did Black Panther land in your lap?
By way of audition. Just like auditions for every other role, I was grateful to be able to put everything I had into it and get the job.
Now, were there other people there that you felt like, man, this guy could get it?
Well, with respect to voiceover auditioning, we're independent of all others. So I submitted my first audition without knowing who else was submitting their audition.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it sort of takes the pressure off.
Yeah, I mean, at the callback, there are times where you do get to see the competition, as the case might be.
Okay.
But not in my case. I think I might have been staggered with other roles that were auditioning, so I didn't get to see who my competition was.
I mean, could you imagine Kevin Michael Richardson being Black Panther?
Of course. I can imagine Phil Lamar being Black Panther, Keith David, Bumper Robinson,
Oh, yeah.
Kari Payton.
I mean, but you managed to get it, and now your voice is iconic. With the Avengers and Black Panther, I mean, I know kids that, they don't know who you are specifically, but they hear the voice, they go, that's Black Panther.
Yeah, and such is the nature of voiceover. You know, I mean, most of us are known for our voices and not necessarily our pretty faces.
This is true.
But,
a lot of poor voiceover actors.
A lot of us can wear both hats, you know, and that's okay. I don't mind. I think some voice actors enjoy the anonymity that being a voice actor allows them. They don't want a lot of the adulation.
Do you want to go out for more on-camera stuff, or do you just stick to voiceover?
I'm an actor. As they say, the play's the thing.
Yes.
So if the play is in the amphitheater, or if it's in the sandbox, or if it's at a microphone, I just want to play. Put me in, coach.
Put me in.
Yeah.
So, as a kid, did you always want to be a voiceover, or did you mainly heavily go after the acting? Did you want? I mean, what were your hopes and dreams as a kid?
When I was a kid, I was not interested in voiceover. Unless you told me that voiceover was trying to fool people on the other end of the line. I wanted to be an actor. I did enjoy acting. Most of us, our introduction is in school theater or community theater, and so that's how I got my introduction to acting. It was school theater, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed creating characters, and then ultimately portraying them, you know, for an audience.
Now, did you have any cartoons when you were growing up? Did you like look forward to Looney Tunes, some of the other stuff?
Oh yeah, I was an action figure sort, so I watched a lot of wrestling, not necessarily the cartoons, but you know, I watched He-Man quite a bit. There weren't a lot of cartoons that had black characters, nor were there cartoons that featured black lives.
Yeah.
So I can't say that I looked to animation as a reflection of my life, but I was able to appreciate it just as, you know, animation.
So what were some of the things you looked forward to as a kid? I mean, other than, I know I like to play tag when I was a kid. I mean, what were some of the other things that would say shaped you to grow, to be the person you are?
I was the athletic sort as a child. I wanted to go outside and run. If you wanted to race, we could go race any time of day, sewer to sewer, from corner to corner. I liked playing football. Most things that were athletic, I enjoyed doing those things. I enjoyed experimenting, science experiments. You know, I had a little microscope. I did those things. Spent a lot of time with family. You know, I grew up in a large, extended family. So those were the types of things I did. I mean, a lot of my friends were also family members. You know, when you have cousins for days, you're all right. You're all right.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, did you have the same rule I did? When the lights came on, you had to go home?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
There were certain days where I could hear my mom's voice bellowing, "Get home!" I'm like,
oh yeah, I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
My mom, you know, if I'm T'Challa of animation, my mom was the queen of all there is to be. If she needed to be heard, man.
Yeah.
I could hear my mom from 2 blocks away. Still, wait, I think Okay, so I thought that was my mom. I wasn't sure.
I felt it for you.
Right? For real.
Well, James, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you. Thanks for taking a moment to chat with a brother.
Stay tuned. I am here with one of my favorite voiceover actors, Mike Bell.
Yeah,
Mike,
he says that to everybody. We go to the next table, my favorite voiceover, the next at my fit. It's okay.
no, it's 100% true.
Okay,
All of my
all right.
viewers know I am a huge Transformers G.I. Joe fan.
Ah, okay.
And the last time you were supposed to appear here at the Pasadena Convention Center, I created a giant balloon version of Prowl.
Oh,
And I was
did
gonna,
you?
oh yeah, giant balloon. I walked in so excited.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay,
oh yeah,
cool.
I
all
walked
right.
in so excited. I said, "Where's Mike Bell?" And they go, "He called out sick." And I went,
Yeah, I couldn't make it. Yeah, I'm sorry. What happened to the balloon?
It was on display at my shop for about a week.
What's your shop?
It's called Amy's Playground. It's in South Pasadena. I have a balloon store in the front end of this indoor playground for kids.
What? That's great. Well, you just got a free advertisement. That's really cool.
I know. I'm supposed to be interviewing you. You're not supposed to interview me.
No,
What's
that's
going on
great.
here? So, Mike, tell us, how did you get involved in, what was your first role in voiceover?
Oh, golly, my first role, it might have been Oliver Twist and the Artful Dodger. I played the Artful Dodger for Hanna-Barbera where I had to sing,
Okay.
which was such a mistake. But they bought it, and I think that was my first, and then from there on it was sort of a dream. I just sort of slid into it, yeah.
Now, can you give us an idea? So nowadays, voiceover actors, you got people that just have their little studios at home, they record it, they send in their tapes, their audios. What was it like for you back then? I mean, did you pound on doors and just say, "Listen to my voice"?
Well, what you did was you made a tape. Okay. Nowadays, you don't make a tape. You do an MP3 and you send it off to a prospective agent and you hope that you do whatever it is you do. Then we had to make a tape and put it together in his, music, whatever it is you could add to it, and all the whistles and toots, and make the rounds. Go to agents and say, "Please listen to this."
So there were voiceover agents looking around for people.
Absolutely. I don't know if they were looking. Listen, if somebody came across their desk, it would be great. Yeah, they would listen, and that's how I got it. I was going with somebody at the time who was a lovely gal. Who was one of the top voice ladies in the business, and I was at that point I was under contract to Universal Studios as an on-camera actor because everything I'd been doing up to then was guest starring on television. And she said, "You will never get a chance to play the roles you want to play because of what you do. You're just always the bad guy on camera. You want to play other roles. I know I can tell vocally." So she put together a tape for me, and we gave it to her agent. He said, "I think I can find him work," and I started to work.
That's living a dream there.
Yeah.
Most people go and they just feel defeated half the time. They don't get the roles they want to get, and they just give up.
Yeah, well, you see, I would never give up. Never. I always tell, I've been teaching Japanese students voice animation for 15 years. Okay. They fly in from Osaka, Sapporo, Tokyo, etc. And the one thing I say is, don't give up. I mean, if you truly want it, I don't care how talented you are, because there's some very, very talented friends of mine gave up because they got married or they had kids or whatever the heck it was. They decided, parents said, this is not a job for a human being, go find something to do that can bring in money, whatever, bread, whatever. And I was lucky. My mom said, do what you need to do, because you get one life as far as we know, and you better go after it or you'll really be upset. So I said, okay, let's just do it.
How did you, what do you do? Do you just go home? I picture you with your voice, similar to like what Jim Carrey did, which is he stared at his face, stretching one here, there, an eye, lifting an eyebrow. What did you do it differently to make your voice stretch?
With those of us in my age category, and we're talking about the guys from the 50s to the 80s, whatever it is, we would plagiarize and not shade your eyes, because that's why God made our eyes. So we would plagiarize, and we would do Boris Karloff and Peter Lorre, at Rod Steiger, whatever it was, character actors that had a sound, and we would imitate them. And if we were good, eventually we would use them, and I've used them in all the animated shows that I've done. I've used those characters.
That's like, oh God, I can't remember his name right now, but he played the Brain on...
Pinky and the Brain. Right.
And he was basically doing
he was doing Orson Welles. Right. Maurice LaMarche.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's got does a wonderful impression of Orson Welles. Jim Cummings does a wonderful impression. There's many actors that do it. He happens to be right on the nose. But that's what we do. We find somebody that we sound like in many cases, and then we invest the acting ability behind it, because it's not just sound. You have to have the acting ability. And when I teach, I tell everybody, join an improv group. If you really want to learn your craft, get an improv group so you start developing characters. So you want to know what they sound like, grandma, grandpa, friends, whatever it is that's about them that's a little bit different, and that goes right to their laugh. That's what you eventually develop, and it becomes yours. You sock it away, and it's yours.
So tell me, Mike, I know voiceover actors don't really sit in a lot of the same room with the other actors, but were you ever in that situation? Was there ever any drama? Like, for instance, did Peter Cullen ever elbow you, like, out of the way, Mike?
Oh, no, not...
Out of the way, Mike.
Sure.
Peter coming through.
Knock him over like a feather. Peter and I worked together on Voltron.
Okay.
And one of the things about it was great fun. I can't help but cut up, and I was always playing. And Peter has an infectious laugh, and he would start to laugh and make himself laugh while he was laughing, and I couldn't stop making him laugh. Till finally they put me in another room. They said you can't work with Peter anymore, and that pretty much happened. But we used to work together. When we did the Smurfs, we all worked together in one room. It was fabulous. We did Rugrats, we all worked together. And over the years, this business of people just working by themselves, reading a line 3 times in a row so they can pick and choose what they want, it's a little bit different in terms of acting approach. It's not as enriching for us.
I hear you. There's a show that they're sort of being nostalgic with. It's called Mike Tyson's Mysteries. Have you heard
Yes, I heard, sure.
So it looks like Scooby-Doo,
Mike Tyson,
but it's Mike
yeah,
Tyson.
right, of course.
But so same thing. They don't sit in the room together. Norm Macdonald plays the pigeon, and he's off in a different room.
Right.
Mike does it in the same room. So you actually, back in the day, you weren't sitting in the room.
Oh yeah, it was like radio.
Okay.
In radio, you didn't just come in here. Everybody sat in the same room and you did the same thing. So you all worked together, and it was literally we sat in a line. We had scripts and it was opposite each other. We didn't look at each other, but you got that feeling from somebody else. It was an acting approach. So if the character gave a line that was a little different than what you had expected the other character to give, you could react to that as opposed to doing it by yourself, never knowing what the other character sounded like. I mean, when they did, I did Rugrats the movie as well, and after we did all our work, they went to New York to record Susan Sarandon for the movie, and she said, "Where's the actor that I work with on this? The fellow who plays Chaz?" And they said, "Oh, that's Michael Bell." They said, "Well, where is he?" And he said, "Well, he's in L.A." She said, "Why isn't he here?" Because she's used to working with somebody else. So guess what? I did. I said, "You need me there?" "Yeah, Susan Sarandon wants you." I said, "Susan Sarandon wants me? Okay, I'm bringing my wife and my daughter, and you're paying for it." And they said, "Okay, and you're paying for that's right, and you're paying for the hotel." and we all went, and I got to work opposite Susan Sarandon because that's what you do as actors. Corporations don't necessarily believe that. It's a matter of time. We'll bring you in, or you now send an MP3 or whatever it is, or you even record on an ISDN line from another country or another state.
Very similar to radio.
And the directors go crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can see you were sort of in the golden age.
Oh, golden, platinum.
Platinum age. Correct?
Yeah.
And like I said, to this day, I was telling some of the young cosplayers that I met today, G.I. Joe was my go-to, Transformers.
Right.
What are some of the lessons you've learned on your television shows? And surprisingly, they were telling me, like, Pokemon was about acceptance and I can't remember what the young lady, she put it better than I did. But I'm like, oh, you didn't learn not to jump over power lines or take candy from a guy in a van? Okay. I guess because G.I. Joe had that covered.
Yeah, in G.I. Joe, of course, was the good guys and the bad guys. It was just obvious, and we were going to win. Even in Rugrats, the gal Angelica she was such a nasty kid, and she always got it in the end. She always got her ass, kicked in the end. It's great.
Platinum Age is right. Mike, thank you so much for talking to us.
My pleasure.
All right, this is great. First Tooncon we've attended. I've spoken to so many great people. I would have spoken to everybody here if the show was longer. Not now, Matt. So I would have spoken to more people if I had more and more time. But the viewers want a very small, concise show. So that's what we're going to give you. What we've learned here, it's the first one. It's just going to grow bigger and better from now. It was a very intimate setting. I mean, I envy the people that showed up today, got the autographs and the photos that they needed. I don't envy the people that show up next year when they've learned how intimate and close you can get to these actual characters and speak to the people that have inspired you. Speak to the people that have I'll take one of these, thank you. Get in your swag bags. And it's just been a wonderful event. I can't wait for next year. I'll see you next time.